Hey there! Thanks for clicking on my story. I promise to make this an interesting one. Now, I know you've read the title and you're probably thinking that there was some mean girl at high school picking on me and making my life miserable. Promise not to laugh when I tell you who my real bully was? Promise? Okay, it was my little sister Melanie. She was 12 years old and I swear she was like the child of Satan himself. Satan and a really horrible woman because I swear I couldn't understand how we had the same parents and similar genes. We were so different. I was 16 years old, so we only had 4 years between us. I was bigger, taller, and smarter, but you don't need to be big to be a bully. You just have to be mean. And that was Melanie. But before I continue my story, would you please like the video and subscribe to the channel? It would mean a lot to me if you hit that notification bell too. Thanks, you're the best. Now, you're probably wondering what this 12-year-old could have done to me that was so horrible. There's just so much. Where do I even start? I'll start by giving you some different situations. When she was 4 and I was 8, she started hitting me. She did this when my parents were not looking, and they never believed me when I told them what she was doing. Sometimes she'd just be like,
"Hey, Katie, turn around. Look what I brought you."
And I'd turn around, and she'd just smack me in the face with a handful of mud. I didn't hit back because I was supposed to be the older one, and I was a really calm person who never liked violence. But one day, I really couldn't take it anymore. We were sitting, watching TV, and her favorite show had just finished. I took the remote because I wanted to watch something else. It was my turn after all, and she pulled it back from me and hit me in the face with it. I pulled it back from her and did the same to her. Harder, because I was bigger. She started screaming and wailing all the way upstairs to my parents, who scolded me for being a horrible big sister. But she hit me first.
That's not true. Melanie would never hit anyone. She's such a good girl.
My mom was delusional. My dad looked a bit suspicious, but he didn't say anything to her, and I was grounded. But that was fine because I didn't like going out anyway. I liked to sit in my room and read. But Melanie just became more and more annoying. She'd always eat my snacks and she left her toys everywhere. She'd scream at me so I'd pick them up. I don't know why I was so soft, but I just was, and I listened to her. As we got older, she pretended to be too young to do any chores, and she left everything for me to do. And she just continued becoming more and more evil. Sometimes, if I said or did something she didn't agree with, she'd barge into my room and destroy my stuff. I'll never forget this super cool solar system model I had created for our science fair the next day. I was sure my teacher would be so impressed and proud of me. Well, do you know what Melanie did? She pulled out all the planets and stepped on them. It was too late to do another one and I was just devastated. I was so devastated that I cried all night and my mom didn't believe me. She thought I destroyed it by myself, but that made no sense. Sometimes my dad would stand up for me when Melanie was being wicked, but I just wished he'd do it more often. So, fast forward a bit to when I was in high school and Melanie was just starting middle school. Now, I didn't really mind Melanie's awfulness as much when it didn't affect my social life at school, but what she did next made me realize it was time for a change. In the morning, I'd usually lay the clothes I intended to wear on the bed, then I'd go to shower. So that particular morning, I put on my clothes after I left the shower and went straight to school. I noticed Melanie laughing a bit, but I figured that she was just being stupid as usual. When I got to school and walked through the hallway, I noticed that everyone was staring at me. First they stared, then they got out their phones and started recording and laughing.
"Oh my God, Katie!"
My best friend Paula said while pushing me near the girls' bathroom and covering my pants with her backpack until we got inside safely. What's going on? Why is everyone laughing at me?
"There is a huge hole in your pants. We can all see your bright orange underwear. How didn't you notice this?"
It was fine when I put it on the bed this morning. Oh no, that brat Melanie. She must have cut a hole in it when I went to the shower.
I think she's taken it a bit too far this time. Don't you think it's about time you taught her a lesson?
Yes, Paula, but I don't know how.
Do what you always do. Sit down and make a list. I'm tired of watching your life get ruined because of a silly child. That video is going to go viral. How are you ever going to get a boyfriend now if you're the laughingstock of the school? I'm sorry, but we've got to do something about her,
Paula replied. Luckily, she had a pair of gym shorts in her bag, and she let me wear them for the rest of my most humiliating day at school. When I got home that afternoon, Melanie saw my shorts.
Nice shorts. What happened to your pants?
You've taken it too far this time. I went to my room to create a plan, but luckily, I didn't have to think too much. Melanie was having a sleepover that night, and 3 of her little snotty friends came over. When it was about 9 o'clock that night, and my mom had sent them to bed, I listened through the door to hear what they were talking about.
Melanie, Andy was totally checking you out today. Really? Yeah, I think he likes you too. I'm too nervous to talk to him. You just gotta have courage. We believe in you.
As her little friends chuckled and encouraged her, I realized I'd found her weakness. She liked a boy. I walked back to my room and got started on my plan. In no time, I had found Andy's Instagram handle, Snapchat, TikTok, and he even had Facebook. I thought kids nowadays thought that was old-fashioned. I made an Instagram profile pretending to be my sister and sent him a message. I was going to set them up, then break them up in an awful way. What? She deserved it. I sent him a message immediately. Hey Andy, it's Melanie. I think you're really cute. Would you consider going out with me? I could see that he was online, but he didn't reply until the next day.
Okay.
He didn't seem very enthusiastic. I'm having a party at my house later. You could come if you want, I replied.
Sure. Send me the address. I'll have my dad drop me over.
Later that day, I made sure I was the first one home from school. I decorated the house with a few balloons and started cooking dinner. When my parents and Melanie got home, they were pleasantly surprised.
What's the occasion?
My mom asked. Oh, nothing. I just decided to be nice. I also put your clothes in the washing machine, Melanie, I said. Well, I didn't put all her clothes in there, just the nice ones to make sure she wore something old and ugly. When everyone was seated at the dinner table, I heard the doorbell ring. I'll get it! I screamed and jumped out of my chair. I opened the door and there Andy was, a funny-looking little guy.
Is this Melanie's house? I thought there was a party tonight.
Well, yes it is. She invited you? That's weird.
Why?
Well, it's just family, and we're celebrating because she hasn't wet the bed for a whole month.
What?
Yes, she's been wearing diapers since she was born, and she never grew out of them. But it's been a month since she's had to use them, so we're having a big celebration. She must really trust you if she asked you to come. Anyway, come in, have a seat. I smiled. When I walked to the table with Andy, Melanie sat in shock.
Hi, Melanie.
He said.
I'm so happy I get to celebrate this special occasion with you.
What occasion?
Aw, you don't have to be ashamed. It's okay, I won't tell anyone.
He said.
You invited a boy over?
My mom said, shocked. Melanie didn't reply. She was too shocked. Also, my parents had a no dating until you're 16 rule, so I knew they were boiling inside, but they were probably just as confused as Melanie, and they were trying to be polite to the strange boy. After dinner, Melanie ran up to her room for a while, and I invited Andy to the living room to sit down. I used this as the perfect opportunity for more mischief. I went back to the kitchen pretending to get him a snack. Then I took out my phone and sent a message to Andy from Melanie's fake account. Do you want to hang out at the mall with me tomorrow? Melanie came back downstairs and sat next to him. I listened from afar.
What time do you want to go to the mall tomorrow?
He asked.
What? Are you asking me out?
Okay, if you want to put it that way, fine.
Is 4 p.m. okay?
Yeah, I guess.
And that was that. Later that night, after Andy had left, I heard Melanie snickering on the phone with her friends.
Andy showed up at my house. No, I don't know how it happened. He asked me out too, to the mall, tomorrow. Of course, I know I'm not allowed to date. I'll just tell my parents I'm at the library or something. They won't think I'm lying. I'm their perfect little girl.
The next day, I made sure to go to the mall just before 4. Melanie was sitting near the food court all by herself looking a bit nervous. Then Andy approached her, and her eyes lit up. I took out my phone and took many pictures of them. I followed them all over the mall and even took a few videos too. Then I posed as one of my mom's friends and sent her all the pictures with the message, "Is this your little girl? Isn't 12 a little too young to be dating?" I went home to wait for the storm. When Melanie got home, both my mom and dad were sitting on the couch with a very stern expression on their faces.
Melanie, where are you?
My dad said.
At the library, like I told you, remember? So, explain this.
My mom said while showing her the pictures. Melanie looked horrified.
First, you bring a boy here without even asking us, and now you're lying to sneak out with him? I thought we raised you better than that. But, shut up! Go to your room!
My mom screamed. I laughed really loudly, then went to my room to plan more mischief. I wasn't done yet, obviously. I quickly sent a message to Andy. Hey, I can't see you anymore because my friend Sandra really likes you. She wants you to ask her out tomorrow. He replied instantly.
Whoa, Sandra's so hot. Thanks for letting me know.
Later that night, while feeling very satisfied with myself, I walked near my parents' bedroom and heard them talking. I don't know why, but I got my phone out and started recording the conversation. It sounded like they were arguing.
I don't know if I can do this anymore. You're not doing much to discipline that child, and she's getting out of control.
My dad said.
But you don't do anything to help.
But she's not even my kid.
Robert!
I tried to raise her as my own, but the truth is she's nothing like me. This would never have happened if you hadn't had that stupid affair. I don't know why I didn't divorce you immediately.
I gasped. So Satan really was Melanie's father, huh? I stopped the recording and sent it straight to Melanie's phone. Then I barged into my parents' room. I heard everything. So Melanie is only my half-sister? Dad, what are you waiting for? Divorce this woman and take me away with you.
That is unacceptable, young woman.
My mom screamed. Be quiet, cheater. Melanie has been the most horrible sister in the universe, and you've always defended her. This is why? Because she's some special prize from an affair? You cheated on Dad. Melanie walked into the room with tears in her eyes.
Is it true?
She cried.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry.
My mom said while trying to hug her. I looked at my dad, and we both knew it was time. It's been 2 years since then, and we are living happily 3 states away from my mom and her awful child, Melanie. She experienced 2 heartbreaks before the divorce was final, though. That she wasn't who she thought she was, and also that Andy was way more into her friend Sandra than he ever was into her. I didn't mean for it to get this far, but hey, she asked for it, right? Hopefully she's trying to become a better person.